Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing something a little random. It is my 30th birthday today. I'm interested to know down below if you think I look 30 because I get very mixed reviews on that. Most of the time my coworkers think I'm a lot younger than I am, and random people on the streets think I'm like in college. I feel like I look somewhere between like 20 to 25. But I'm not sure if I look all the way 30. You can let me know down below. I once did a video called Tips for People with Baby Face. I think this was on my like 24th or 25th birthday, and people started leaving comments on that saying I actually looked like I was 40 years old. So very mixed reviews on how old people think I look, but I am in fact 30 today, January 20th. 2022. To get into the content of the video, I'm going to be sharing 30 facts about me because number one, I haven't been making a ton of content and I feel like some of you may want to know things about me, and if you're like new here, you might not have seen some of my older videos that might have some of those facts in it. And number two, I don't really talk about myself that much on this channel. I mostly talk about my opinions on books and how that pertains to me, and not necessarily me as an individual. Like I don't really talk about my profession or like my favorite color or like random stuff like that. So I guess we should just get into it. These are really random facts, by the way. I want to say that coming up with 30 facts about yourself is really difficult. So if I leave any random things about me out that you wanted to know, ask below. I'm happy to share. We're gonna come in really hot and fast with this first fact, but I used to be in a religious cult. Like before I started BookTube, from the ages of I think like 13 to almost 24, I was in a very high control church group that basically dictated everything I did about my life. If you want to know more about that, I've been considering for a long time doing a video about it, but it's just so random from my content that I didn't know if I just like randomly posted a story time saying I used to be in a cult, if you'd be interested in hearing that. It's a fairly well-known non-denominational church group, so I kind of want to make a video about it just so I can like warn people to never join this church. But yeah, let me know down below if you'd be interested. I probably might make the content regardless of if you're interested because I feel like random people might click on that video, but yeah, I'm like, why not monetize my trauma, because there was a lot of trauma from that decade of my life. Also, just so you know, the order of these facts is so random because fact number two is I never buy a book unless I read it or it's a super duper anticipated new release. I am someone who suffers intensely with buyer's remorse, so if I were to spend like $15 to $25 on a really nice hardcover book and then not enjoy it, I would rather pass away. I mostly consume my books through the library or Scribd, and I also use Audible. I guess Audible does cost $15 a month, and there have been times that I didn't enjoy audiobooks, but I don't know, for some reason I always feel like Audible is like fake money, and I kind of forget that I spend money on it because I always have like 6 credits on it, so I kind of trick myself into thinking that one is free. Fact number 3 is I am originally from New Hampshire. I grew up there until I was about 18, and then I went off to college. When I tell people I'm from New Hampshire, their favorite thing to say is I've never met anyone from New Hampshire, and I get it. It's not that big of a state, and it's all the way in New England, and it's one of the most random states in New England, so I feel like people always skip over it. But yeah, I am from New Hampshire. There's also other famous people from New Hampshire. Adam Sandler, Sarah Silverman, Seth Meyer. We're all from there. And the state motto is live free or die, and there's no sales tax. Like if you go to the mall and buy a shirt and it says it's $28, then it's just $28, no tax. We love that for them. They're living free. And that leads me into fact number 4, which is that I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been living here for, I want to say like 8 years. I think I moved here in 2013. And yeah, it's kind of random, but living in Georgia, we do have sales tax here, so I have not enjoyed that benefit in a very long time. And then fact number 5 is that I have lived in 4 US states. So I have lived in New Hampshire, then Massachusetts, Florida, and then Georgia. So very random travels in my life. Fact number 6 is I have a dog named Billie Eilish. She's right there doing something. I think she's chewing on her butt right now. She's got one eye and she's a cutie. I adopted her from a random rescue in Atlanta. Fact number 7 is I don't drink coffee. Sometimes I wish I did because there's such a culture around drinking coffee, and I feel like people love to just like in the morning make their little coffees in their special little ways, or they make like iced coffee, or people have like Nespresso machines, and there's just like this whole vibe around like having your morning cup of coffee, and I really wish that I did it too because I feel like it seems like a fun thing to be into. But on the other hand, I am glad that I don't have a coffee addiction because I feel like all of my friends who drink coffee every day get migraines if they don't have it because they're addicted to caffeine. Fact number 8 is my profession, and that is that I am a senior product designer. Some people like to call this profession user experience designer, but essentially what that means is that I design apps and how they look and feel and act. So I don't really talk about my job or like show my design work on my channel. I've actually thought about doing a video where I redesign Goodreads and kind of take all of the pain points and like show you mock-ups of like what it could look like if it was better. So I might do that. Let me know if you're interested down below. Fact number 9 is that I had a perm in high school. When I was a sophomore, I cut off my hair at a pep rally for a charity, and my haircut came out so bad, like it was like to my chin, and I wanted to cry, which is funny because I actually have maintained short hair for the last few years. I know I'm growing it out right now, but if you look at older videos, like in the last couple of years, I've always had really short hair. But as a sophomore, I was not having it. I did not like how it looked on me, and so my brain was like, I should have curly hair. That's what's going to make this look better. And you'd think, okay, then get a curling iron and curl your hair. But this was literally like 2007. And in 2007, none of us knew how to use hot tools besides a straightener to like straighten our hair and like leave a kink in the back. So I went to my hairdresser and I was like, give me a perm. And it didn't look good. I will insert a picture here. It looked really bad, and I had that all the way until my senior year when I cut it off. Very ugly time for me. Like, I was very ugly in high school. I did not glow up until I was literally like 20 years old. Fact number 10 is that I lived in Melbourne, Australia for a year. I probably should have put this fact up a little bit higher when I was talking about all the places I've lived before, but in between all those US states, I lived in Australia, and it actually was connected to that church that I was a part of. I went there for like a church thing. We won't get into that, but yeah, I lived in Melbourne. It was really fun. I really loved Melbourne. I would love to go back to Australia. I also traveled to Sydney while I was living in Australia, and I love Sydney even more, but I spent most of the year in Melbourne. I will say I did pet both a kangaroo and a wombat while I was living there though, so very exciting. Fact number 11 is a random story, and that is one time when I was in high school, I took a trip to Florida with my friend Emily, and we went tubing on a river. I don't know the name of the river, but it was like somewhere random in Gainesville, Florida. And while we were on the river, we didn't really know where to get off, and so we went really far down. And we didn't realize until this random man popped out of the bushes and said, "You done gone too far." So being like 16, 17, I can't remember exactly how old we were, we thought it would be smart to go off to the bank where this man was. So we went over to the bank, and when we got to where he was standing, we realized that he was naked. He was a random nudist that lived in the woods there. And the way he got us to trust him was, number 1, he put on a pair of jean cutoffs, and number 2, he told us, "My name's Naked Ed, I've been featured in magazines, and I'm kind of like a local site around here." And I guess being dumb teenagers, we believed him, and he rescued us and brought us to safety. He had a car, and he brought us back to where like the tubing center was, and he was very nice, and he gave us coasters with his face on them and signed his name, Naked Ed. Fact number 12 probably should have also gone up a little bit higher after I was talking about my job, but I have had a lot of jobs since starting my professional career. I actually majored in public relations in college, but then randomly ended up in user experience. It was super random, and I have had, I think, 6 jobs in like 7 years, which is kind of crazy. It has not been intentional. There's just been a lot of bouncing around for different reasons. That's also why I honestly haven't been posting as much in the last 3 years. Like, changing jobs as an adult is overwhelming, and I used to have to go to the office, so it was just a taxing time. And in 2020 alone, I had 3 different jobs, so it was just like a lot. Fact number 13 might be surprising, but the first time I ever got drunk was in January of 2017. I was 25 years old, I think. I'm not very good at math. I think, yeah, that was 5 years ago, so I was 25. And it's honestly because I was in that cult and we weren't allowed to drink. Well, we were allowed to drink, but you couldn't get drunk. So I just kind of stayed away from alcohol. And then even after I left the church for like 2 years, I was afraid to drink because drinking had been so taboo, and I was just like nervous to be like out of control and stuff. But the year of 2017, like I said, I got drunk. That's actually the year that I started doing drunk literacy. So little did you guys know, when you were seeing me get drunk in those videos, that was like some of my first drunk experiences. When I did that 50 Shades of Grey video, I was actually blackout drunk. That's one of the only times I've ever been blackout. And that leads me into fact number 14, which is that I did not have my first boyfriend until I was 24. I obviously was a late bloomer because of being in a literal cult. Dating was allowed in the church, but it was really regulated, and you had to be like a certain caliber of a Christian for people to want to date you. And I had this like issue where guys always liked me, but then like church leaders would tell them I wasn't spiritual enough, so like we couldn't like date. Anyway, that's a sneak peek of the trauma that we could talk about if I did a video about that. But basically, about a year after I left the church, there was this guy that was interested in me, and we knew each other like through a mutual friend from college, and he slid into my Facebook DMs and he basically wanted to hang out with me, and so we dated for like 5 months, and he was awful, like literally awful. I feel like I went through what most people go through in like their late teens or like early college, where they've never dated before and they have their first boyfriend and he's terrible, and they learn like how to have standards. And I feel like I had to go through that very late in life, and so sometimes I think about some of the times that I had that boyfriend and I'm like, this girl. To be honest though, people of all ages struggle with having standards. Fact number 15 is kind of random, but it's that Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm actually making my boyfriend watch it right now. He can't get over the campiness, he keeps making fun of it, but ultimately he's starting to admit that it's really good. Once you start getting into like season 2, we love it. Fact number 16 is that I have 5 tattoos. One of them actually is for The Diviners, which is one of my favorite book series, so there's another bonus fact in there. And then I have like a bunny there, and then I got one here, and then I have one on my leg and one on my thigh. And if you want more in depth about my tattoos, I could do that in another video. I feel like I could not do a dedicated tattoo tour video though, because I literally have 5 small ones and we would be done talking about it in 5 minutes, but it's fine. Fact number 17 is another random story, and this is one of my best / worst sex stories ever. I always thought about doing a story time about dating so that I could tell the story, but the chance never came up, so we're gonna talk about it now. But essentially there was this one time that me and my roommates were going out, and my friend Katie, who you've seen in my Drunk Litter series, invited a high school friend to come out with us, and we ended up hooking up that night. You know how things do when you go out with people. I knew he was like mildly religious, like he mentioned being Catholic, but I didn't really think anything of it because I assume, you know, if you have beliefs, you're gonna stick to whatever your beliefs are. That's a little bit of foreshadowing about what happened, but basically I ended up spending the night at his house, and the next day we woke up and he drove me home, and we stopped and we got lunch, and when we were eating he asked if he could pray for the food, and of course I said yes, because I'm not gonna be disrespectful to someone's views or beliefs. I thought he was just gonna like pray in his head and then eat, but he decided to pray out loud for both of us. And he prayed and asked God for forgiveness for us having sex the night before. I just want that to just sink in. He sat there and he was literally like,
God, can you please forgive us for what we've done the night before? Like, we stumbled, but your grace is infinite.
That was a really fun, awkward story, and so I went home and told Katie that story, and she's from a very small town. And she basically told all her friends, and now everybody knows that story happened. And you know what's so weird is he went off, he's married now, because obviously, like I said, it's been like 4 years, and he's married to a girl named Sarah. I think that's kind of weird. Fact number 18 is that I like to say that my favorite color is glitter, because it's just fun to say that, and I love wearing glitter on my eyes, glitter on my nails, like glitter everything, love glitter. But honestly, my favorite color is probably green. Like, I have a lot of green things. I really like green, but I like to say it's glitter. So that will be the answer if you ever ask me that question. Fact number 19 is another job fact. Again, I probably should have moved this up higher, but I had my first job at 16 at an Allstate insurance office, which is really random. I was a student aide at the career center at my school, and so she always had like a list of people in the town that were like looking for kids to help them after school. And so this random woman owned an Allstate insurance office, and she wanted someone to stop in after school to like file all the papers. And I ended up working there, I think for like 6 months, and then I got fired because I was really bad at filing the paper, and sometimes I would text at my desk. So fact number 20 was that I was a vegan / vegetarian for 5 years. I think for the first 2 years of that I was vegan, and then the last 3 years I was vegetarian. I only started eating meat like last, I want to say March of 2021. I stopped eating meat in college, and the reason at the time was for health reasons, because I used to eat fast food like every single day, and I had a friend that was vegan, and she told me what she ate every day, and I just decided cold turkey that I would also do that, so I just stopped eating meat one day. And then last year I kind of had a heart-to-heart with myself to try to figure out why I was still not eating meat, because I sort of realized I really wanted to, and I was hungry all the time because I wasn't eating enough protein, and I kind of realized it was like diet culture reasons. I know like it's not popular to not eat meat, but I think I was under the impression that if I were to eat meat again, I would gain weight, and I just feel like it was a weird food phobia, and it was kind of like disordered thinking. So yeah, I decided to eat meat again, and we love that for me. Fact number 21 is kind of random, not to say that any of these facts aren't random. Last year for my boyfriend's birthday, he mentioned briefly that he wanted a piano stand for his keyboard. Like, he had just one of those random like X stands that are like metal that don't look very nice, and he was like, oh, maybe someday I could like build one out of wood, like when I have more space, like if we owned a house in the future. And so my brain, being crazy, was like, I'm going to learn woodworking and I'm going to make him one. And I did. I literally learned woodworking and I made him one. I got the help of my friend Megan, who you've seen on Drunk Literacy, and her dad. Like, he helped us with his saw, and I went to Home Depot and I got plywood and I just got to work. I will insert some pictures of it. It was honestly really difficult. It probably took me like 40 hours to make, but he loved it and his piano's in it and it's a great time and we love that for us. Fact number 22 may or may not be related to me eating meat again, but I've discovered with age I'm a little bit kind of like lactose intolerant slash maybe have IBS. Like, as they say, hot girls do have stomach problems, but I cannot remember a time that everything was normal for me. That's probably TMI and you probably didn't want to know that, but you know, again, I had to reach 30 facts, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Fact number 23 is that I have trypophobia, which is the fear of clusters and holes. Like, I don't like weird patterns. I cannot look at honeycombs. I cannot look at anything that's like tight together. Like sometimes like chia seeds or pomegranates or like anything like that. Like, if you don't know what trypophobia is, look it up. There is, I think, a BuzzFeed article where they show you photos of it and you can see how like unsettled it makes you feel. I've always felt weird looking at certain things and I never had the words to put to it until trypophobia kind of got popular and people were discussing what that is. But it's disgusting. I don't like it. Like, just weird textures, weird patterns. I get grossed out. I hate it. Fact number 24 is that I have been doing pole dancing for almost 4 years, which is kind of crazy. I have taken some breaks here and there, so it hasn't been like a full 4 years, but overall I've been in that hobby for 4 years. And I do it in a studio like for fitness, not necessarily for work. And it's really fun. Like, I love it so much. Like, if you are looking for a fitness that is unique and makes you feel really strong and basically a badass, then I highly recommend pole. It just never feels like working out to me. It always feels like I'm learning a skill. And I've always been interested in dancing. Like, my whole life I thought dancing was so cool. Like, every time I watched a little Step Up movie, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to dance. But a lot of forms of dance are really difficult and I'm not very good with like counts, so I was always kind of afraid to try dancing. And I feel like pole dancing, like, you can do it with counts, but you also can just like vibe it out. I don't really care that people stigmatize it because it's literally just a way to move your body and have fun. And my number one tip for like fitness is just finding something that you really love to do, and pole is what I love. And that leads me into fact number 25, which is that 1 year into doing pole, I did a pole competition, and I have never ever posted the footage from that competition because I accidentally fell off the pole and I got second to last place, and it was really a bad time. I will probably insert the clip of me falling off the pole. It was quite embarrassing and I cried for like a whole day because I spent literally 6 months prepping for this competition, and it's probably one of the worst failures of my life and it was super sad. Fact number 26 is probably more relevant to what this channel is about, but that is that I started doing booktube in 2015. So that means I have been doing booktube for almost 7 years. April will be 7 years. Like, that's insane. Like, wow. Booktube has changed so much in that time. Like, I think back to the kind of content that was popular back then. Like, does anybody remember Top 5 Wednesday? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's how I got popular, actually. Like, I started getting views when I was doing Top 5 Wednesday. RIP. Fact number 27 is a little out of nowhere, but that is that I am a huge Drag Race fan. I think I've seen almost every season of Drag Race. There's some of the more recent stuff like Drag Race Canada season 2 and I think the 3rd season of Drag Race UK I haven't seen, just because we're at this point where there's so many seasons of Drag Race coming out at the same time that I can't keep up. And I also kind of go in and out of watching TV shows, so I just kind of lean to like binge, like sit down one day and binge and like whatever. I'm kind of a basic bitch, so my favorite queens are Trixie and Katya. Everything that they make together is amazing, and I also love Bimini and some of the UK queens, but yeah, I'm kind of basic when it comes to like my choice in queens. Fact number 28 is that I literally don't know how to do math, like, at all. Like, I would argue that I have dyscalculia. I don't think I actually do, but like, I'm on the verge of having dyscalculia. Like, the way that you can give me simple numbers and I cannot do anything with that. If you ask me to add something or divide something or whatever, I'm going to be taking my phone out. I'm going to be using a calculator. Like, me and math are not friends, and I have to redo math like a million times. Like, for example, like every month when I charge my roommate for like utilities, I have to add everything up and divide it by 2 like at least 4 times to make sure I'm doing the math right. I'm bad. I'm so bad at math. It's like kind of embarrassing, and it comes up almost daily how bad at math I am. Fact number 29 is that I went to 3 colleges before graduating. I started out at Boston University, and then I went to community college in Gainesville, Florida, and then I graduated from Kennesaw State University in Georgia. So very random, but yeah, 3 colleges. fact number 30 is that at my first college, Boston University, not only did I garner the majority of my student debt, literally $25,000 for one semester, but I also was in Air Force ROTC with the intention to be in the Air Force. But yeah, no, I fully believed I was going to be in the Air Force, and my major was going to be Chinese, and I was going to be an interpreter. And that did not pan out that way, and I ended up going to community college in Florida. But that brings us to the end of these 30 facts. I hope you stayed with me. I hope you found them interesting. I know they were really random. It's really hard to come up with 30 facts about yourself. If there's anything else you want to know about me, please let me know down below. If you do want that story time about me being in a cult, also let me know. If today is also your birthday, let me know down below, because that would be fun if we were like birthday twins. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.